Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 12th of October and welcome to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, let's start with the video. So in the today's video, we'll be discussing the entire Hindu newspaper along with the background as well as the way forward in the articles we'll take. And moreover, I want to tell you that if you are new here, you can download this explainer PDF from the Telegram channel. This explainer PDF contains the notes of all the articles that we are going to discuss. So you can add these notes in your current affairs compilations. Okay. And in the last also we'll be taking up the mains practice question. The link for the Telegram channel has been given in the description box in YouTube. Moreover, you can search Thinking Pilot by Sahil in the Telegram also. Now, before starting, first of all, let's take the overview of the entire newspaper so that we can understand that which article are important for our examination. Now, the first article here we see it talks about that the IMF cuts India's growth forecast to 6.8% this year. Now, guys, basically 2 days back we have seen that the World Bank forecast was given with respect to the India's growth rate. Now, the IMF forecast has given. Okay, so there are then the Moody's credit rating agency, S&P. So these agencies give their estimates with respect to the Indian economy based on the inflation, based on the performance of exports, based on the manufacturing sector's sentiments and all those kind of things. Now, understand this particular thing that it has provided that the growth rate will be less because of the high inflation that is there, because of the effects of pandemic that are still there, and because of the Russia-Ukraine war that is going on. Fine. Now, understand this thing that you don't need to go and really track these datas too much because they will change as the economic conditions will little bit be changing. Okay, so every coming month they will change. So by the time you'll write your exam, this particular data will not be relevant by that time. Okay, but what are the major global economic issues? Russia-Ukraine war, inflation, high crude oil prices, inflation with the India. Okay, then moving on. After that, basically human sacrifice in Kerala, 2 women killed, couple held. Fine. Fine. Moving on. After that, guys, basically Justice Muralidhar left out of transfer list. Now, basically what happened, the collegium has recommended the transfer of the 2 of the High Court judges, but in that 1 judge has not been transferred. That particular thing has come here just. Then, guys, moving on. TMC invokes Bengali pride, not very much important, not very much important. Okay, so basically the regional crime related issues, etc., are not important for our examination. You don't need to go there. Then 3 lakh and counting RTI pile up has been talked about. So, guys, we'll see. Okay, I think there's some kind of a voice problem. Let's just adjust that. Okay, so I hope that now the voice will be fine. Okay, so now the next article that talks about here, it is about the 3 lakh RTI pleas. Okay, so we'll be seeing up the performance of the RTI application, RTI Act in India, and what are the impediments in the implementation of the RTI Act that we'll be seeing here. Then after that, guys, the city section. Okay, so city section, the crime related news, etc., tenders have been given. No need to go in this particular direction, guys. Fine. So we will be directly moving to the editorial page, and on the editorial page we have some of the relevant articles. Now, the first article, solution by the people for the people. This is a very good article. Okay, and talking about many of the global issues that are there. Okay, so we'll see this particular article. Blaming technology for death by suicide is misguided. Again, a good article talking about the health, mental health, fine suicides for GS paper number 2. We'll see this article. Then the side article, Aam Aadmi Party is failing on its effort to be all people's party. So basically the article is a politically inclined article. It is talking about that what Mr. Kejriwal's narratives are, and basically they are losing their core ideology and all those kind of things. For UPSC, you are not required to go too much of the detail in this particular article. Then further, nothing left to chance. Okay, so this article talks about the Grand Prix. Okay, so it's called as Grand Prix. Okay, not Grand Prix. Okay, so the Grand Prix championship is being discussed. Fine. Then moving on. Reading the Chinese tea leaves. So this article talks about the National Congress of the CPC that is going to be held. Fine, a party that is always in the combative mode. So TRS government, okay, and the TRS government's ideology, all these kind of things are being discussed. Urban consumers are still not confident enough. Basically, guys, this particular article talks about that still the economic recovery is not very much robust. Still, there are the less confidence into the economy. So on that particular thing, the performance has been compared. Okay, so consumer confidence survey was carried. Okay, so respondents who said economic situation had worsened. So we see this particular thing that 59.2% people think that that such kind of a worsening in economy has happened. Okay, so these particular charts and the data have been given in this particular article. Now understand this particular thing, guys, that as basically now we are into the September, so the data of the September month has been given. Okay, you again don't need to track this particular data too much, because always, guys, understand that we are preparing for the exam, and for the exam horizon the things are to be seen. And guys, again going by that particular thing, these consumer confidence and all such kind of a thing will change a lot, because the festive season will come, then after that the next budget will come before you'll write your exam. Okay, then moving on, the Ashoka Vijayadashmi controversy. Now, what this particular article is talking about? So basically, Aam Aadmi Party's minister Rajendra Pal Gautam attended a Buddhist conversion day, and then there were some political controversies happened. So political parties, they said that it was a kind of a festival where some anti-Hindu calls were made and all such kind of a thing. So for UPSC exam, not at all important, that's this article. Okay, just one thing I want to tell, basically, guys, basically the Ashok Vijayadashmi, basically the Dashera often is also celebrated as a day when basically the when basically you might be knowing this thing that Dr. B.R. Ambedkar converted to Buddhism. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar converted to Buddhism, and the people who became Buddhist, they are called as Neo-Buddhist. So basically, Ashoka Vijayadashmi is celebrated on the Dashera, and it marks that particular event when the conversion happened, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's conversion to Buddhism that happened. Now, this particular article doesn't contain the academic substance. It is talking about that what BJP said, that what Aam Aadmi Party said, and all such kind of things. What are the allegations against Google by the NBDA? We'll see this particular article. So with respect to the controversy between the Google and the news publishers, we'll see what has happened. Real estate debt crackdown and COVID policies throw a spanner in the Chinese economy. Now, basically the article is talking about the Chinese economy and its performance. Now you see this thing that China follows the zero COVID policy. Zero COVID policy means that the China is not comfortable with having even the few number of cases, and whenever the waves come there, they go under a complete lockdown, and because of that lockdown, their economy had got impacted a lot. And the real estate sector in the China is also not doing very much good. Then moving on, meetings on labor codes fail to evolve consensus. Okay, so this particular article is talking about that. Now, guys, you might be knowing already that there are the four labor codes that was instituted by the government. That is the labor code on wages, labor code on occupational safety and health, labor code on labor code on wages, labor code on occupational safety and health, labor code on industrial relation, and labor code on social security. Now these particular labor codes, all of them are basically these labor codes. There are some of the controversy that are there with the labor organizations, and in that particular thing, the labor organizations are trying to convene a meeting, but that thing has failed. So no consensus has happened. Okay, so this is a kind of a very evolutionary kind of a thing that is going on. Then further moving on, now this article is very important. Non-traditional livelihoods included in Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao scheme. So very good article, we'll see. Then Justice Chandrachud nominated as the next Chief Justice of India. So right now the Justice UU Lalit will be succeeded by the Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, that is just mentioned here. Now this article is a good one. Judge whose dissent opinions are as powerful as his orders. We'll see. Some of very good references have been given in this particular article. Okay, EC allots 2 swords shield symbol to Eknath Shinde's faction of Sena. Okay. Then UN Secretary General to launch initiative on environment in Gujarat. So the LIFE initiative will discuss here. Technology is a tool of inclusion and not exclusion. So some of the excerpt from the Prime Minister's speech we'll see here. Then farmers outfit question delay in announcing the MSP on ongoing Rabi season. So as the Rabi season is ongoing, okay, so what MSP government will be announcing, fine, that thing has not been provided. After that, G7 vows support for Ukraine after Russia force launches mass strike. So guys, Russia-Ukraine war is going on, and now we have seen that really some offensive have been made. Moreover, a few days back, there was a kind of a referendum that was also there. So the G7 countries, they have said that Ukraine will be given support. However, no need to go follow all these particular day-to-day developments. Okay, then urban poverty triples in Sri Lanka. So you might be knowing that the Sri Lanka is facing a kind of an economic crisis right now. Okay, ministries urge to shun inflated demands for funds. Oil slides 1.7%, Sensex slips 1.5%. Not important article. The ministries urge to shun the inflated demands for the fund. So basically, guys, it has been provided that many a times the ministries are asking more funding because there is a poor planning, because they are not able to anticipate what will be the actual cost of a project. So they are asking more money. Okay, so that particular thing should be reduced, because already government is having a kind of the basically government's revenue streams have been dried. Moreover, the fiscal deficit is also increasing. Okay, and then guys, Cisco to invest in India WebEx infrastructure, corporate issues, etc. Not very much important. Then we have the sports page. Okay, and that is all, guys, about the newspaper overview. And now let's discuss all the relevant articles that are important for the examination one by one in the detail. Now, in every class, we start with a GS quotation which can be used in one of your papers to supplement your answers. So today we'll take the quotation. Today we'll take the quotation from Martin Luther King Jr., one of the most prominent civil rights activists of the USA and a Gandhian follower. So Martin Luther King Jr. says that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So we should not be bothered. We should not only be thinking that justice in our country should be there, or justice in our community should be there. If there is any grain of injustice in any part of the world, in any section of the people, it will disturb the justice for everyone. Because guys, anywhere injustice, what happens? If there is injustice at one particular place, if there is injustice at one particular place, it will fuel frustration. That frustration will become radicalism, and that radicalism will disturb the peace. And when the peace will be disturbed, what will happen? There will be again injustice that will come. So even if there is a small grain of injustice, that is also to be removed, because if there is anywhere injustice, then it will become threat to justice everywhere. So basically our focus need not to be microscopic, rather it needs to be inclusive, where every section's concerns should be addressed. Now this particular idea can be used very effectively in the GS paper number 4 ethics, as well as in the essays, So that is all about the GS quotation. And now let's take the first article. Okay, so first of all, let's read the heading of the article, that what it reads, and then we'll be going into the detail. So article reads that 3 lakh and counting RTI please pile up at information commissions across India. So basically, guys, this article talks about the Satark Nagarik Sangathan's report on the RTI pendency in India. Now, Satark Nagarik Sangathan almost every year comes out with this particular report. Last year also the Satark Nagarik Sangathan's survey was there. So we'll see. Now this particular article, first of all, where it will be important? This article would be important in GS paper number 2, issues related to information. GS paper number 2, issues related to the information sharing. Even the information sharing as a topic has been mentioned in the GS paper number 4. This particular topic can also be important with respect to the right to information, fundamental right, particularly the article number 19. Moreover, guys, this particular article is again very much important, because when we talk about the GS paper number 2, in GS paper number 2, government's schemes, government's laws and their evaluation has been mentioned. So we'll see the evaluation of the RTI Act, efficacy of the RTI Act with the help of this particular report here. Okay. Now, first of all, guys, I will be giving you a little bit of a background and value addition. Okay, so we'll discuss the little bit of a background and value addition, and after discussing this background value addition, we'll further move to what this present article is all about. Now you see this particular thing, that when we talk about the right to information, United Nations Declaration of Human Rights 1948 has provided that the right to information is a fundamental right of a human being. Moreover, when we talk about information leads to enlightenment, and enlightenment leads to empowerment. So information leads to enlightenment leads to empowerment, and empowerment is the core. It is the core objective of a democracy. So in a healthy democracy, accessibility of information is very much important. Even the UNDHR, United Nations Declaration of Human Rights, have recognized that. Now, in the past, there have been multiple Supreme Court judgments also that has come, which have recognized the fundamental right to information. And in this particular capacity, there is one most important judgment, that is the Mr. Kulwal versus Jaipur Municipal Corporation case. Now, in this particular judgment of 1986, Supreme Court very clearly recognized that the article number 19 of the Constitution specifically implies the right to information. Now, when we talk about, guys, article number 19, it talks about the right to speech and expression. Now, how your speech will be exercised if you don't have the information, first of all? So, therefore, with the right of speech and expression, right to information will always be implied. That was something which was provided. Now, on this particular line, there were the movements that got started in India, and the civil societies asked from the government of India that even Supreme Court has recognized the right to information. So please bring the Right to Information Act. And here the Mazdoor Kisan Shakti Sangathan, Commonwealth Human Right Initiative, these were the organizations which have played a very important role. Okay, I am writing their name: Mazdoor Kisan Shakti Sangathan and Commonwealth Human Right Initiative. They had played a very important role in the RTI Act's introduction in India. And finally, the RTI Act came in existence in 2005. And now nearly 17 years have happened since the RTI got instituted. Now, when we talk about RTI Act is more about the change in attitude. It is more about the change in the viewpoint of bureaucracy. So basically, bureaucracy's mindset has been changed, okay, from the secrecy to the sharing of information. Now, the objectives of RTI, it is to empower the citizens. It's to empower the citizens to question the government. It increases the transparency and accountability of the government, okay, that whatever government is doing, government should provide the information so people can ask the accountability. It also helps in reducing the corruption, obviously, as you can seek the information about the government schemes, where the money is being spent, so the corruption can also be tackled. Then after that, it also aims to build the better informed citizens who will keep a necessary vigil, who will keep a necessary eye on the government's actions. Okay, so the RTI Act essentially fulfills the spirit of democracy. Now, what has happened? The present case. What is the present case? So basically, guys, the Satark Nagarik Sangathan has basically provided the pendency in the information commissions. Now you see this particular thing. When we talk about the RTI, under the RTI, information can be asked from a public authority. Just a minute. Under the RTI Act, the information can be asked from a public authority. Now you cannot ask information from a private player. Only public authority, and every public authority has to constitute a PIO, that is Public Information Officer. So for example, you want to make an RTI to your university, which is a government university, okay, so where you will be making RTI, you will be making RTI to the Public Information Officer. Now suppose you did not got your information, or you are not satisfied with the information, then you can approach to the Information Commission. Okay, so guys, there are the Central Information Commissions, and then there are the State Information Commissions. Okay, Central Information Commissions and the State Information Commissioners. Okay, in the CIC, in the SIC, there will be the Chief Information Commissioner. There will be the Chief Information Commissioner, and then there will be the Information Commissioners. In the same way, even into the State Information Commissioners, there will be the Chief Information Commissioner and the Information Commissioners. So at the level of the union, there is the Chief Information Commission, and at the level of state, there is the State Information Commissions that are there, where you can approach if you did not got the satisfactory information. Okay, now basically it has been provided. Now you guys, basically, obviously, as the cases are going in the Information Commissioners fine across the country, all the cases will not be disposed. There will be some kind of a pendency. Now, the Satark Nagarik Sangathan has provided that actually the backlog of these cases in the Information Commissions, these backlogs have increased. So, when we talk about the 2019, nearly 2,18,000 cases were pending. Then it got increased to nearly 2,86,000 in 2021, and now to 3,14,000. So basically, the pendencies or the backlog of the cases into the Information Commissions, it is increasing. So you can read it also that complaints pending with Information Commissions have steadily increased over the years. Now you see this thing. Basically, if there is so much of the backlog, what will happen? In the timely manner, the information will not be given, and if information is not given in the timely manner, that information is essentially useless. Okay. Moreover, they have provided some other important highlights also. Now this particular report says, Satark Nagarik Sangathan's report says this particular thing, that two of the information commissions, just a minute, two of the information commission, that is the information commission of Jharkhand and Tripura, out of the total 29 information commissions. So we have total 29 information commissions in all the states that we have. Out of that, two, that is the Jharkhand and Tripura, they are completely defunct for 29 months and 15 months respectively. So in Jharkhand, there is no member in the information commissioner from the past 29 months, which is a very big time. Okay, it is nearly 2.5 years, and from the past 15 months the no information commissioner is into the Tripura. Then it has been provided that actually the other information commissions also, for example the Manipur, Telangana, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh, they are without the chiefs. Okay, so the chief information commissioner is not there in these state information commissions. Then basically in the act it has been provided that very less number of women information commissioners are there in these bodies. So out of the all information commissioners in all the commissions throughout the country, only 5% of the positions are being occupied by the women. Is it clear or not? So this is something that is happening. Moreover, it's also provided that actually in that basically when the information was not given and when the penalty was to be imposed, it has not been imposed. So in 95% of the cases where penalties were potentially imposable, the information commissions had not imposed the penalty. Now you see this particular thing, if you will not impose the penalty, what will happen? A kind of a sense of impunity will come in the officers. They'll think that okay, even if they'll not give the information, then also no punishment will be there. So the culture of impunity, I'll write here, a sense of impunity will come, which is not good. Fine. Now, as per one more report that was released recently, that is the Transparency International. Now, the Transparency International also released a report with respect to the working of the RT Act in India, and this particular report has also highlighted this thing that 1/4 information commissioner's post, according to them, 25% of the information commissioner's post are vacant, and only 5% of women information commissioners are there in the country. Is it clear or not? So the condition of the RTI, it is not very much good because of the pendency, backlogs, and the information commissions which are not working at their complete strength. So this is something where government needs to be concerned. This is something where immediate steps need to be taken. Guys, understand this particular thing, that whenever you are writing an answer on the governance, fine, most of the time problem is not that a scheme is not there or an institution is not there. The problem is that the implementation is not proper. And you can see the example that the RTI Act has some of the very good objectives, but because of the poor implementation, the act is not completely able to fulfill its desired goal. So that is all about this article. Now we'll move to the next article. Okay. Non-traditional livelihoods skilling of girls included in Beti Bachao scheme. Okay. Now this particular article will see with respect to GS paper number 2. This particular scheme will see with respect to the GS paper number 2, issues of social justice. Okay. We'll see this particular thing under also the vulnerable sections of society, within the vulnerable section, women. Moreover, guys, this particular article will also be important with respect to the government's welfare schemes. Now, all these things, the social justice, vulnerable sections, welfare schemes, they are contained in the GS paper number 2. Okay, so we'll see this particular article. Now, before taking the article directly, as I do every time, I'll be taking first of all the background and the value addition, and after that background and value addition, we'll see that what this particular article is talking about. Okay, now, first of all, when we talk about the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. Now, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao scheme got initiated after the selfie with the daughter scheme that was launched in the Jind district, in the Jind district of Haryana. Okay. Now, guys, selfie with the daughter was a program where the fathers used to click their pictures with the daughter, and it is a program where the fathers showed the pride that they had with their daughters. Now, on that particular line, the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao Abhiyan came. Now, this particular program came because of the poor child sex ratio of India. Now when I tell you about the child sex ratio, the latest data that the census data that we have is from 2011, and on the basis of 2011 census there are 918 girls for every 1000 boys. This is the child sex ratio, not the sex ratio, child sex ratio. Are you getting it or not? So child sex ratio is 918. Now therefore a kind of a joint initiative got started between the multiple ministries, that is the Ministry of Women and Child Development, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Ministry of Human Resources, which is now renamed as Ministry of Education. So the new education policy 2020 suggested the renaming of the HRD ministry, and now it is called as Ministry of Education. So these three schemes came together and they started the Beti Bachao Beti Padhao. Now the Beti Bachao Beti Padhao will sensitize the people. It will do the systemic interventions so that there is the prevention of gender biased sex selective elimination. Okay, so many times a child the female feticide, female infanticide is happening, so that thing will be removed. Then it will ensure the survival and protection of the girl child. Okay, survival of the child once the child has been born. After that the survival is very much important, and that survival depends on providing that child good nutrition, providing that child immunization and all such kind of an assistive services. Then the education and participation of the girl child, and then finally protecting the rights of the girl children, rights of education, rights of nutrition, rights of dignified childhood. All these rights are to be protected. Okay, now what is presently that has happened? So basically under the objective of the Beti Bachao, the mandate of the Beti Bachao, some new mandates have been added. Number one, inclusion of the skilling of girl in non-traditional livelihood options. Okay, now what are the non-traditional livelihoods? Okay, basically guys, the traditional livelihoods are, for example, a girl could be taught a skill, and by that particular skill she can make a living. Okay, there are the traditional livelihood. Now there are some non-traditional livelihoods also. Now there are the new age skills with the coming of digitization, with the coming of new technologies. There are the new skills also by which the people can make the livelihood. So those non-traditional livelihood skills will also be taught to the girls so that they can make a dignified living. Secondly guys, basically the focus will be given now on the enrollment of the girls in the STEM. First of all, STEM, it stands for the science. Just a minute, I'll zoom it out. The STEM. Okay, just a minute. So STEM stands for science, technology, engineering and mathematics subject. Now around the world, the enrollment of the women in the STEM is very much less, not in India, even in the Western world also, and the same goes in India. Even when the girls are pursuing higher education, many of them, I'm not saying all, but many of them are choosing the humanities, or they are choosing the home sciences also, such kind of a thing. So core science, technology, engineering, mathematics, they are not pursuing. So their number will be increased in that, as women has been historically underrepresented, particularly in the technology. Now, in this particular direction, to increase their enrollment into the STEM, a memorandum of understanding has been signed between the Ministry of Women and Child Development, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, and the Ministry of Minority Affairs. Now, we call this as a convergence. We call this particular thing as convergence. Now, what is convergence? Convergence is when the multiple departments, multiple ministries are coming together to fulfill one particular kind of a goal. There is also one more idea that is the line ministries or line department. Line ministries or line department. Okay. Now guys, basically there is one particular goal, okay, and that particular goal can be taken by different ministries. So different ministries sometime work on one thing. So they all at the same time are called as line ministries or line departments. Now, when we talk about the girls, okay, the girls matter are taken by the Ministry of Minority Affairs also. Okay, girls skilling is also taken by the Ministry of Skill Development, and particularly the girls well-being is also taken by the Women and Child Development. So these are the three line ministries that have come together and will implement all this particular thing. Okay, now the basically scheme emphasizes that that adolescents girls, they complete their education, they build the skills and they enter the workforce. Okay, even when we talk about guys the women labor force participation rate over the years have not been very much good. Around 25% is the women labor force participation rate in India, okay, as per the periodic labor force survey. So that is also to be improved if they will be given the skills and if they can enter the workforce. Fine. Now in order to see the implementation of the scheme. I told you in the last article also, guys, that in India the problem is not that we don't have the schemes. We have schemes. The problem is the implementation of the scheme. So for the proper implementation, a national committee which will be headed by the secretary under the Ministry of Women and Child Development. So this national committee will be constituted and it will see at the regular intervals. It will take the data from the state government, from the union government, from the UTs. From the UTs, it will take the data and will see whether the scheme is being implemented properly or not. So this is the expansion of the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao that has happened. So that's all about this particular article, guys. I hope that you have understood it. And now we'll move to the next article. Okay, so this particular article we have taken from the text and the context section. And first of all, let's read the heading of the article. It says, what are the allegations against Google by NBDA? By NBDA. Now, basically, this particular article, guys, will see with respect to the GS paper number 3. GS paper number 3. Okay. GS paper number 3. Issues with respect to tech giants, issues with respect to the tech giants. Even this particular matter will be important for the GS paper number 4. GS paper number 4, corporate ethics. GS paper number 4, corporate ethics. Okay, particularly GS4 corporate ethics, it will be more important. Now, let's take first of all the article, what the article is all about. But before explaining this article, guys, I would like to give you some of a background, okay, so that you can understand this article more effectively. Basically, in the past, the Google, Facebook, okay, they have been in conflict with many of the governments around the world. So there was an issue that happened in Australia, then there was an issue that happened in the France, and after that many of the European countries had faced this particular issue. What is the issue? Issue is that basically these search engines such as the Google and the social media sites such as the Facebook, their activities is leading to the decline in the revenues of the newspaper agencies, okay, basically newspaper agencies, broadcasting agencies. What happens? Basically, first of all, I'll tell you the context. Recently, the Indian Newspaper Society, Indian Newspaper Society. Second is the Digital News Publisher Association, and the third is News Broadcasting's Digital Association. These three organizations has provided that because of the Google's activity, the revenues of the publishing agencies, news agencies have declined, and they have even approached the Competition Commission of India, and they are asking that against the Google, the action should be taken because of the Google, their revenues have been declined. Now, how their revenues are declining? Now, see this particular thing. Today, the Google is the biggest search engine. It is the biggest search engine, and the 94% of the market share is held by the Google. Okay. Now, what actually happens when we talk about the publishing houses, newspaper agencies, from where their revenue usually comes? Their revenue doesn't comes by the amount of money that you are giving when you are buying the newspaper. Let's say you are buying a newspaper for 10 rupees. That 10 rupees will not even be covering the cost of the paper that's there, will not even be covering the cost of printing and that paper. Their revenue comes from advertisement. So traditionally, the newspapers, two-third or the 66% of revenue has come from the advertising. But now what has happening, the basically traditional news consumption by the newspaper, it is shifting towards the digital news consumption. Now many of you don't buy the physical copy, rather you go on the Google and you consume the news. So basically what happens today you'll go directly onto the Google, okay, and on the Google you will search any kind of a news. For example you will search that what are the key takeaways at the SEO summit, what are the key takeaways from the SEO summit. You will search that particular thing on Google. Now what Google will do, Google will show you the different news websites which are containing that what are the outcomes from the SEO, and from there you will visit a particular website. Now everybody who wants to consume the news, now you tell me, do you directly go to the news website or you go to the Google first? Now majority of people They don't go to the Hindu's website and there they'll search the SEO Summit's outcomes. Rather, they'll go to the Google, and from Google, they'll go to the Hindu, they'll go to the Indian Express. Now, what is this? All the people, when they are going to Google, it is traffic that is getting generated onto the Google. And wherever there will be the more traffics, the advertisements will be placed. Now, every person, suppose I have a particular product. Suppose I am selling this pencil. Okay, now I want to advertise my pencil. Where I'll advertise? I'll advertise where more people are coming. Now guys, first more people are going directly onto the Google's web page, onto the Google's home page. So here there will be the advertisements that will be placed, and all that particular revenue will directly go to the Google. Now what the news agencies are saying? News agencies are saying that people are going to Google because there is a news that we have generated. If we did not have generated, simply that particular traffic would not have went to the Google. Now the Google is not paying the revenue to the newspaper agencies. Is it clear? Google is not paying the revenue to the newspaper agencies. Is it clear? Moreover guys, many of the even advertising tools are owned by the Google. For example, when advertisements are to be done, there is the Google AdSense. Google AdSense. Now Google AdSense is a platform, okay, by which the advertisements are placed. Okay, now more and more advertisements are going to the Google, where the news agencies has played an important role, because people go to Google for searching the news. So therefore Google had generated a lot of money, and this particular revenue is to be shared. This particular revenue is to be shared with the news agencies, and that has not happened. Okay, so basically let's read this particular thing also. Okay, so we have seen that now the online proliferation is happening, and there is an increased reliance on to the news publishers on digital ad revenues. Okay, now the digital ad revenues publishers also need, but the advertisements are not being placed on the news website, rather they are being placed onto the Google. Okay, now reader would more often opt for an online web search rather than reaching out to a specific news website by typing its URL in browser. What's the problem? Problem that I explained you just now, it's that the central contestation is among the parties that holds that the tech giants has not compensated news publishers for the contribution to Google's various platforms. Clear? So therefore now they want a settlement for this particular thing, and the similar cases have happened in the Europe also, as I told you. In the France also the same kind of matter had happened. In Australia also same kind of matter happened. In the Australia the matter concerned more of the Facebook. Moreover, understand there is actually one more issue that is not mentioned in this particular article, but I want to tell you. Actually guys, all the search engines and even the social media websites, they have their own section about the news. There is Google News, there are the Facebook snippets, Facebook news snippets that are there. What people do, people directly consume their news from Facebook only. They consume their news directly from going to the Google News. Okay, and many of times what is happening, there is no earning that is going to the news agencies. Who had generated the news? Who did all the hard work? News agency. But where you are reading it? You are reading it at Google. And obviously if you are reading at Google, where the advertisement will go? Advertisement will also go at the Google. So this is the issue that is coming. Moreover, one dimension I want to give you here, an additional dimension I want to give you here, is that guys, over and over again in the past it has been said that in the times to come, these tech giants, they will use their monopoly. They will become such big that they will monopolize most of the sectors, and then there will be a kind of a corporatocracy. Okay, there will be a kind of a corporatocracy that will develop. What is a corporatocracy? Corporatocracy is a phenomena where the corporates, they become so powerful that they cannot be controlled. So today we see that Google's clout is increasing so much. Okay, today Google is dominating in almost all the areas. So it might bring a kind of a phenomena of corporatocracy in the future. That's all about this article, and now let's move to the next article. UN Secretary General PM to launch initiative on environment in Gujarat. Okay, now basically guys, the next coming week, the United Nations Secretary General is going to visit the Gujarat. Now I'll discuss this particular article, but before that let's take some of the background first, and by this particular background we'll be able to understand that what this particular article is all about. Now I want to give you a background. Okay, this particular article we'll see with respect to GS paper number 3, environment. We'll see this particular article with respect to the GS paper number 3, environment. Okay, the global initiatives taken by India, global initiatives taken by India for the environmental conservation, for environmental protection. Okay. Now, so lifestyle for the environment movement, lifestyle for the environment movement, in short, which is called as the life movement. In short, it is called as the life movement. Now, basically, guys, I have discussed with you many number of times that in the past, that is 2021, in 2021, India participated in Conference of Parties 26 that was held in Glasgow. That was held in Glasgow. In the COP26, India committed that by 2070, we will attain the carbon neutrality. And at that point of a time, India also said that we will start a movement, that will propagate the environmental conservation, sustainable development, and that movement will also focus on reversing the climate change that has happened. So that was the commitment that India made in the COP26 that the Prime Minister participated in the 2021. Now, in the line of this particular commitment, guys, India has started the life movement. The life movement, life stands for lifestyle for environment. Now, this particular movement, it is an environmentally conscious lifestyle that focuses on mindful and deliberate utilization of the resources. Now, you see this particular thing. What is a lifestyle movement? First of all, basically, guys, we have a particular kind of a lifestyle, and that particular lifestyle is characterized by our consumption patterns. It is characterized by our behaviors, our preferences, our choices. I just want to give you one more example. There was a movement that became very popular just a few days back, that is the movement of minimalism. The movement of minimalism. Now, what is the minimalism movement? It is a lifestyle movement where people live with a viewpoint that they will have as many things as possible. They'll not have too much of luggage, too much of clothes. They'll not have too much of furniture. They will not have too many things. Only few things they'll be having. Only the things that they require. So minimalism is a lifestyle movement. Okay. There was the tiny house movement. Okay, where the people used to live in the small houses. So now this life movement is a lifestyle movement where people will consume less. People's action will be such which promotes the environmental well-being. That is the life movement. Okay. So in this life movement, there will be mindful and deliberate utilization of resources instead of the mindless and the wasteful consumption. Wasteful consumption. Now, guys, the mindless consumption, it is a core pillar of consumerism. Today, the consumerism that is there, it wants you to consume more and more, and therefore the mindless consumption, it is a core pillar of consumerism. So we'll go beyond the consumerism and will become more conscious in our consumption so that the environment doesn't comes under a pressure. Now, in this particular thing, in this life movement, we will move beyond the use and dispose economy. And this use and dispose economy, it's also called as sometime as linear economy. It is sometimes called as linear economy. Now, what is linear economy? In linear economy, you basically, a good is manufactured, you use that particular good, then you throw that particular good. Just end of the story. Rather than the linear economy, we need to move to the circular economy. What is circular economy? You will use a product, then you will reuse that particular product, then you will recycle that particular product, and after the recycling, that particular product will again enter the economy. So this is a circular economy. So circular economy is to be promoted. Linear economy, which is also called as the use and dispose economy, it is to be abandoned. Fine. Now, in this life movement, there is one more component within the life movement, that is the P3 movement. Now, P3 stands for pro-planet people movement. Now, in this pro-planet movement, what has happened? There is a group of pro-planet people. There will be the like-minded people that will come together and they will propagate as a movement. Are you getting it or not? For example, there were the Satyagrahis. Now, who were the Satyagrahis? Satyagrahis were the people who carried forward the idea of the Satyagraha. So this P3 pro-planet people will be the people who will have the shared commitment. They will adopt and they will promote the environmentally friendly lifestyles. So you might have heard about the PETA, people for ethical treatment of animal. So the PETA volunteers, they go to the different people and they persuade them that you please be vegan and all such kind of a thing. So P3 people will nudge the people, they will convince the people that they should adopt the environmentally sustainable lifestyles. Okay. Now this particular mission, this particular committee, P3 community, it will create an ecosystem which will enforce and will enable the environmentally friendly behaviors. So this is all about the lifestyle movement. Now guys, as this life movement is going on, so the next week, okay, what is going to happen? Just a minute. Okay, so we see here that from the October 18 to October 20, from the October 18 to October 20, okay, United Nations Secretary General will be coming and will be visiting the Gujarat. Okay, so United Nations Secretary General will be visiting the Gujarat. In the Gujarat, he will visit the Statue of Unity. He will visit the Statue of Unity, and there one more component within the life movement will be started. Is it clear or not? Now, what this particular article is talking about? This article is giving the itinerary that, for example, when the United Nations Secretary General will visit, who he will meet, then they will have a tea break there, then they will go to that place. Now that itinerary is not important. Once he will visit, as I said you, that he'll visit on October 18. So when he'll visit, then we need to see that, okay, what is actually going to happen, what they are doing. Is it clear or not? So basically, he is going to visit, and this life's movements, one more initiative will be started, and we'll see. Now, I had basically given you one. Just a minute. I had given you some of the references from the United Nations Secretary General's speech that he made in the context of Pakistan. Okay, so this is something that you can use in your answers. Now, guys, your answers always need to have some value additive substance. So basically, you might be knowing this thing, you might be knowing this particular thing, that recently there were the floods in the Pakistan, and as the floods came in the Pakistan, the United Nations Secretary General had said that the Pakistan's flood and the people who got affected by the floods in the Pakistan, it is a grim calculus of climate injustice, and this is a climate chaos which is knocking on everyone's door, and it needs a global response. So basically the United Nations Secretary General said that Pakistan's flood was an environmental disaster, it was an environmental calculus, okay, a grim calculus of climate injustice that is happening, and we need to deal with that. Okay, so now he is going to visit. Okay, so you can read the heading again, that UN Secretary General PM to launch initiative on environment in Gujarat. Which initiative? Initiative under the life movement. Initiative under the life movement. In the article, much substance is not given. Okay, only when he will be visiting, that timeline has been given. So therefore, this life movement you should see, and when he will come, more details in this particular direction will see. Then moving on into the next article. Okay. Okay, there's one comment, sir, please help us to understand for beginners that in the newspaper articles, which article is going to which paper. Preeti, I am taking in every article that where it will be important. So I explained that it will be important in GS paper number 3. Before that, it will be important in GS 3 and GS 4. Okay, GS 2. Okay, so in every article, before I discussed, I provide you that where this particular article is going to be there. Okay, then next article. Solutions by the people for the people. Solutions by the people for the people. Now, this particular article is talking about some of the global challenges, that are being faced by the humanity as a whole. Okay, the people in almost all the countries are facing these challenges in a shared capacity. Okay, now this particular article will be important for GS paper number 2 as well as GS paper number 3. Okay. Now, first of all, guys, this article talks about some of the challenges that have been there. One by one, we'll discuss them. First of all, the article's premise is a very, very beautiful kind of a premise they have given. They say that since the 20th century, the debate have been there that what is more important, whether the Keynesian economics is more relevant and more important, or whether the Friedman's economic ideas are more important. Now, what is this Keynesian idea and what is this Friedman's economic idea? Let's see that. So basically, Keynesian idea of economy and the Friedman's idea of economy. First of all, Friedman as an economist believe that there needs to be the minimum control of the government, minimum government's hand should be there in economy. As far as possible, the capitalist, as far as possible, the industry or the market should be given the power that they should determine what is needed, what is not needed. Demand and supply are the most important forces in an economy, and demand and supply will determine what production should be there, what pricing should be there, what is needed, what is not needed. Government should not interfere in that particular matter. It is believed by the Friedman. However, Keynesian. Now the Keynesian economics focus on this thing that no, government cannot detach from the economy. Government need to be present and government need to carefully monitor the economy, because if government will not be there, sometimes the economic forces might impact the poor people more negatively. Is it clear or not? Now, when we talk about the Keynesian economist, okay, they are called as more or less the welfareist, where they say that the government has an important role to play in economy, government has to give the welfare. And the Friedman economist, they are more popularly known as the monetarist. Is it clear? Friedman economists say that government should not interfere. There is an invisible hand of market that will automatically regulate the things. Now, if you guys see this particular thing, before the Great Depression of 1929, the economics were carried where government did not interfere too much. But after 1929, the Keynesian economics, that government should interfere, it became very popular. Now, basically, it has been provided that actually both, so Keynesian and Friedman, they have a difference as what should be the role of a government, but at the end, they both agree on one particular thing also, and that is that the growth in GDP or the size of economy is very much essential. So whatever you do, whether government interferes or whether government doesn't interfere, the most important thing is that what is the size of GDP, whether GDP grows or not. But in this particular thing, in this particular model or in this particular thinking, there is one problem, and the problem is that we have forgotten this particular thing, that the earth has a limited capacity to renew itself, and the earth's resources, fine, they cannot be unlimited. If you use the earth's resources unlimitedly, then there will be certain environmental challenges that will come. Okay, so everybody is talking about economic growth, but about what about the sustainable development? What about the environmental conservation? And this wake up call came in 1972. Are you getting it or not? So in basically 1972, you know this particular thing, that the environmental summit was held, okay, and where it was discovered that because of industrialization, the focus on economy that we have given, we have destroyed the environment. And today, everywhere we know that climate change is real, sea level is rising, and it is impacting our survival. So we focused on economy, we forgot the environment, which was a very big problem. It has been provided that whenever the communities had tried to protect the environment, it has been dismissed that it will impact the ease of doing business and GDP growth. So in the name of ease of doing business and GDP, the environmental sustainability has not been taken care of. After that guys, around the world, there is one more issue that is being talked about. Okay, basically, we are not focusing on the poor people. We are not focusing on in the inequality metrics, the have-nots, the poor people. Okay, you see this thing. There are many of the citizens who earn their livelihood by working and not investment of money. Now, these people who are working, who are earning their livelihood by working, the people who are the workers, the people who are the manual laborers, they have been neglected in the national economic policies. They have been neglected in the national economic policies. Okay. Basically, the now you know this thing, that the ideology of minimum government comes. Okay. Now, it is always said that the minimum government, but why you need minimum government? If a minimum government will be there, okay, the welfare will reduce, and when the welfare will reduce, the vulnerable sections, the worker sections, okay, the worker sections, all these kind of a thing, they will never be able to get their welfare will always be compromised. So therefore, the national policies of minimum government, they are not focusing on to the worker class. Then next, moving on. Secondly, then it has also been provided that the global financial system is unfair. It protects the interest of the large corporations and wealthiest people, while the common citizens' interests are are ignored. I just want to give you one example in this particular direction. Guys, every coming week or every coming month, you might be reading this particular article in the newspaper that the corporate debts of these many thousand crore rupees have been waived off. They have written off. Recently, Canara Bank also have written off the loans worth thousands of crores of rupees. Is it clear or not? But at the same time, if a poor person has taken a loan for his business or has taken a loan to build a house, that particular person that particular person is never shown the mercy by the financial institutions. So the author says that the global financial systems, okay, and even the banks that we have, they always protect the in large corporations and wealthiest people's interest. Is it clear or not? Today the people want that the economic policy should focus on 3P: people, planet, and profit. The corporate should focus on 3P: people, planet, and profit. People should be, and their welfare should be there, welfare should be there, and profitability should also be sustained. Okay, now there are the five solutions that have been provided which will improve the people, planet, and profit. Okay, now these five systemic solutions have been provided. These solutions are: number one, focus on ending poverty. Second is address the gross inequality, empower women, make food systems healthy for people and ecosystem, and transition to clean energy. Now these five interventions, if it will made, it will solve the problem at multiple fronts. It will bring economic growth also, it will remove inequality also, it will provide the equal participation to everyone also. All this thing will happen. Now basically it has been provided that that present path that we are following, it is too little too late, and then there is the big leap. Now first of all, let's discuss the too little too late. Right now the business as usual process that is going on. Okay, we are doing bare minimum on environment, we are focusing bare minimum on reducing the inequalities. That is too little. First of all, our focus came first of all, it is too little, and secondly, it is too late. Our focus came too much late. We should have realized that particular thing way back in 1940s, 1950s, or way back when the industrialization got started. So right now the focus that we are giving, it is too late, too little, and too late. Clear? Now it has been provided that that this model reveals that if we will be going in the same way, then there will be a societal collapse that will happen by the end of this particular century. On the other hand, there is a need of a big leap. There is a need of a big jump. This big jump can prevent the catastrophe. Is it clear or not? Now, what is big leap? Big leap simply means that we should not focus on to the present trajectory of the changes. We need to take some big steps. We need to change some monumental steps. Now, when we talk about the big leap also focuses on the same technologies that we are still using, but in the big leap it is provided that the same technologies should be provided to as many people as they are there, Okay, now right now guys, what is happening? The present thinking is something like this. We are focusing on environment, we are focusing on reducing inequalities, we are focusing on providing the equal opportunities, okay, but number one, the efforts that we are taking, it is too little, and secondly, the realization that has come, it is too late. So therefore the impact will come by the end of the 21st century, and by that time the catastrophe will already would have happened. Now we need to move towards the big leap. In the big leap also, the same thing will be focused, same technologies will be used, but the technologies will be decentralized. Okay, the opportunities will be given to everyone. Okay, so just I'll read here. Now the difference between the two scenarios, that is the big leap and the too little too late, is that
in the big leap there is equitable access to technologies, okay, and in the way the technologies are incorporated by the local actors to find the solutions in their own context. You provide the technologies to the local players so that they can use the technologies to find their own solutions. Is it clear or not? So therefore the idea of too little too late preserves the present inequitable distribution, but the big leap provides that move away from the inequalities and focus on the equitable distribution. Fine, that is something that has been provided. Now what is way, now the way ahead has been provided in the article. So it is, now we have believed that, it has been believed that if social tensions rise too far, societies may enter a vicious cycle where there will be the declining trust, and this declining trust will bring a kind of a political destabilization, economies will stagnate. You see this thing. Today we are not focusing. Today we are not focusing. We are focusing the too little, too late. Too little, too late is there. Now this particular thing at the end of the day will bring a big catastrophic, it will bring some kind of a catastrophe. What will happen? Social tensions will rise, okay, will enter a vicious cycle, political destabilization will come, economic stagnation will come, and at the end of the day the well-being will decline. Right now India is going to host the G20 World Summit, and this G20 Summit is being hosted into the disorderly world. Right now the global institutions, global cooperation, everything has broken, and in this particular scenario, we need to bring some kind of a monumental changes, okay. So therefore there is a need of a big leap. Today the social tensions are already high in the country, all the countries. Democratic processes that are there, these democratic processes have declined, okay. So therefore we need to take again the monumental reforms, we need to take a kind of a big leap. Is it clear or not? Okay, this is something that has been provided, so a paradigm shift is needed, okay. Okay, so that is all guys about this particular article. So in a nutshell, what this particular article is talking about, this article is talking about that you need to make a substantially big jump. The focus which is being led presently, it is not correct. Do more, do more. Right now we are focusing on too little too late. Okay, now moving on. Okay, fine. Okay, Minu, please check the PDF again. Please check the PDF again. There is one. There is again the PDF has been uploaded. Now, blaming technology for death by suicide is misguided. Now, this particular article will see with respect to GS paper number 2, GS paper number 2, issues related to the mental health, Fine. Now, recently what has happened? The National Crime Record Bureau has released its report, and as per the National Crime Record Bureau, it's provided that in 2021 more than 1,64,000 lives were lost because of the suicide. Okay, because of the suicide. Now when we talk about suicide is a very disturbing event that any family might face, that a family faces. Suicide is disturbing for the family. The horrific memories of the suicide impacts every member of that particular family. Now when we talk about the suicide, in the past suicides have been said that they are because of the digital technologies. It has been said that digital technologies are aggravating the stress. According to the article, it has been said that today, because of the digital technologies, cyberbullying, their loss of self-esteem is there due to the social media. Now you always watch the perfect lives of your friends on the social media, and you think that your life is not perfect, their life is perfect. They are going on holidays, they are doing this, they are doing that, they are so much happy. So you lose yourself, you lose your self-esteem, you lose your confidence in the life. After that, extreme binge watching of online content. You are binge watching and then you are in a kind of a guilt that I have wasted my entire day. Heavy reliance on the virtual world, virtual validation. Is it clear or not? That always you are thinking that you should get appreciation from outside, virtual validation. Okay, one thing I want to tell, we also ask for the virtual validation. I always ask you to please hit the like button. But why we ask this virtual validation? Okay, we ask this particular validation because the YouTube algorithms works in this particular way that if you will like the video, then the YouTube will promote our videos, and if YouTube will promote our videos, okay, obviously we will be able to bring more better content for you, will be able to arrange more better things for you. Okay, so that is something. So basically we are always relying on that particular kind of a thing, and because of this, stress develops, mental stress develops, and by that mental stress, people enters in the phase of anxiety, they enter in a phase of depression, and by that anxiety, depression, what happens at the end of the day? At the end of the day, many of the people resort to suicide. Okay, so such kind of a things happen. Okay, now this is something. Now the article is talking about that actually what we have done, we have just held that the technology is the culprit, technology is something which is the entire evil, but that is not correct. Okay, technology is neither at the core of the problem, nor the technology is even a solution for that thing. Okay, neither technology is a problem, nor technology can be a solution. Technology is simply a kind of a medium. Now you see this particular thing. Basically, guys, here it has been provided, some of the data is given. Now according to the National Institute of Health in the US, National Institute of the Health, they have provided this particular thing, that the people who experience cyberbullying. Okay, now what is a cyberbullying? Cyberbullying is, guys, let's say I have posted a kind of a let's say I have posted a kind of a post on the social media. Now that particular post has not liked by some of the people. Okay, so some of them will be giving me threat, some of them will give me threat, some of them will curse me. Okay, and a kind of a cyberbullying will start. Now the people who have faced this kind of a cyberbullying, they are 4 times as likely to report thoughts of suicide. Okay, so the people who face cyberbullying, they have 4x more suicidal thoughts. That is true. But understand this particular thing, that actually even the people who have faced the physical bullying, not the cyber bullying, physical bullying, they also have the suicidal thoughts. Many a times the children in the school, they face the bullies, so they also have the same kind of a problem. So what is the problem? The medium of bullying is not the problem. Is it a cyber bullying? It is a physical bullying. The medium is not the problem. Problem is the act of bullying in itself. So we need to understand these particular kind of an issues. So understand this thing, that it is not that basically it is not that the technology is culprit. Moreover, obviously that is something we cannot also say that the technology has no role to play. Technology has some role to play. Technology, yes, has given some kind of a some kind of a superficial traumas, but technology is not the only culprit that we are talking about. Okay, now here it has been provided that we should focus on awareness campaigns, sensitization program, community support, counseling services to be given. Okay, so that people that people receive a support in the times when they are stressed, in the times when they are depressed. So, and in the article, a Tamil Nadu case study has been given. Now, basically, guys, in the past, what happened? There were a spate of suicides that were observed into the Tamil Nadu, and it was discovered that the many people who committed suicide, they committed suicide because they were having a kind of a gaming addiction. They were playing the online games such as the online rummy, online cricket, or such kind of a games, and by that particular thing, they have lost a lot of money in such online games, and then they committed suicide. So what happened? The government came with an ordinance, and all the online games, fine, which included an element of money, including the rummy, poker, they were banned. They got banned. Now, in this particular thing, this is the approach that was taken by the Tamil Nadu government, but this is not completely the correct approach. You see this particular thing, according to the National Crime Records Bureau, basically the people who are committing suicide, it's not case that only the technology has made them to commit suicide. There are the interplay of other things also. For example, these people, they have the family problems. There is illness, physical illness, mental illness, substance abuse, marriage or love related issues. Okay, they are many a times lonely, they are many times stressed with their physical conditions also, and this is something which contributes to more than 2/3 of the suicides death in India. So basically, technology in isolation is not playing the role. There are other things also that are there. Now when we talk about the Tamil Nadu government's action, where they banned the online games, and what happened indirectly, they blamed just the technology. So that is not something which is a very kind of a correct solution. Now what is way forward? Way forward is to provide the support to the people. Now you see this thing, that recently an initiative has been launched by the government, that is the National Tele Mental Health Program. Now this particular program will provide round the clock 24 hours access to mental health interventions, okay, in the remote areas, in the underserved areas. So you can talk, you can take a counseling, you can have a session with the experts there. So this national tele mental health program has been launched. So this is something which is a very good kind of an intervention. Moreover, understand this particular thing, that we need to acknowledge that the suicidal thoughts, okay, attempts to the suicidal thoughts that are there, they come in the interplay of many number of things. So we need to acknowledge the related causes that are there, okay, the physical causes, economical causes, mental causes, all the causes are needed to be examined, and not just see the technology as a culprit. Is it clear or not? Okay, so technology, now it has been provided that technology is certainly an agent, it is certainly one of a player, but it can neither be seen as a root cause, nor it can sometimes a panacea is a magic pill which solves all the problem. So it is something that is all about this article. Now we'll move to the next article, reading the Chinese tea leaves. Okay, now guys, listen me very carefully. Okay, what this particular article is, so basically on the October 16th, on to the October 16th, fine, so today is October 12th, so after 4 days, fine, after 4 days, the Communist Party of China's National Congress will start. Communist Party of China's National Congress will start. This is the 20th National Congress of the Communist Party of China. Now this National Congress, it is a kind of a meet that is held every 5 years. This is a meet that held in every 5 years. Last National Congress of CPC was held in 2017. Okay, last such kind of a meet was held in 2017. Just a minute. Okay, so it was held in 2017, and now the 2022 meet is going to held. Now, if you remember, yesterday I have discussed this entire idea that basically now the people are speculating that what will actually happen into this National Congress and all such kind of a things. Basically, okay, just a minute. Huh. Okay, now, so the 20th National Congress session is scheduled, and it will begin from 16 years, from October 16. It is held every 5 years. And what actually happens, basically the party constitution, if it is to be amended, the Communist Party of China's constitution, if it is to be amended, it gets amended. Okay, we have seen this particular thing, that in 2017 the constitution of the Communist Party of China got amended, and the ideology of the Xi Jinping got added into the constitution. Is it clear or not? Now basically this particular article is talking about that as this 2022, just a minute, as this 2022 National Congress is being organized, this is an event where the Xi Jinping will take the support for his third term. Okay, already guys, the constitution has been amended, and the limits of basically the limits onto the tenure, the limits onto the presidential tenure that were there, they have already been removed. Okay, this event, it is going to be an event where the Xi Jinping will take a seal of approval. Okay, now when we talk about this National Congress, in this National Congress some of very important decisions are taken. Basically this National Congress, it elects the Central Committee, as well as it elects the Politburo. Now when we talk about the Central Committee, it is a policy setting body. Okay, now all the policies for the China for the next 5 years, it will be set by the Central Committee. And then the next is the Politburo. It is the body which contains the most important organizations into the China. For example, Military Affairs Commission. Now Military Affairs Commission settles all the matters of the military. It controls the National People's Congress is the parliament. Okay, State Council. Now what is the State Council? State Council is the administrative wing of the basically Chinese government. So all these particular committees will be held by Politburo, and Politburo will be appointed by Central Committee, and Central Committee will be appointed in this National Congress that is going to be held. Okay, now basically the article is talking about, just a minute, I hope it is visible. The article is talking about certain things that Mr. Xi Jinping is racing towards the third term. Okay, so in 2022 he will be starting the third term. Okay, the state president is usually referred to as Guoja Zuzi. Okay, okay, and the Mr. Xi might take the similar position and Mao Zedong in the past it has done. Now understand one thing, the article is talking about that this might happen, that will happen. Actually in the next 5 days, the National Congress will happen, and if something important will come, we obviously be seeing once it will happen. So by the 16th October, there will be the multiple articles that will come in the different newspapers. Is it clear or not? That this might happen, that might happen, wo ho jayega, ye ho jayega. Okay, we cannot speculate because obviously what final decisions will be taken, that is only we need to use for the examination. So till then I'll not advise you to go in all these articles that is coming. Is it clear or not? By the way, yesterday I have discussed entire 1-page article with you in the text and the context, which talked about the 10-year journey of the Xi Jinping. So this particular article doesn't contain much of a substance. Rather, I'll say you that please go, and if you want you can watch the yesterday's entire discussion that we have taken. And till then, no need to go every day in this particular article, because they are just the speculations that this might happen, that might happen. Okay, so we'll see ultimately on after the 16th of the October when this particular meet will be culminating. Okay, now this particular article, guys, it carries some of the important, some of the good expressions, okay, which have been given by the Prime Minister in his speech. Now what has happened, guys? United Nations World Geospatial Information Congress has been held in the Hyderabad. United Nations World Geospatial Information Congress. First of all, what do you mean by geospatial information? What do you mean by geospatial information? Okay, now guys, the geospatial information simply means the information or the data that is associated with a particular place, the data that is associated with a particular location or with a particular place. It is called as the geospatial information. Are you getting it or not? Now for example, just I'll give you one example. Suppose I click a photograph. Okay, now if you see the properties of this particular, now today the photographs that are clicked, your mobile phones have the capability that it can geotag the photographs. It can be seen that where this photograph was taken. Okay, now behind this photograph there will be the information about that particular place where the photo was clicked. So it is the geospatial information behind this particular photograph. Now basically it has been provided that the geospatial tools, they are becoming very much important into the present times. Okay, we'll discuss all that particular thing. So first of all, what has happened? The Prime Minister has participated in the United Nations World Geospatial Information Congress. Where this Congress was held? This Congress was held in Hyderabad. And here the Prime Minister has said, now you see this thing, always in your answers you can give the references from the Prime Minister's speech, from the President's speech. They will enhance your answers. Here the Prime Minister has said that technology is not the tool of inclusion. Technology is a tool of inclusion and not the tool of exclusion. Many a time we think that technology is a tool of exclusion. For example, only the people who are educated, only the people who have internet, they will be able to use the technology. So the people who don't have internet, they will be excluded. The Prime Minister said that no, that's not correct. So technology is a tool for inclusion, not exclusion. Technology is a tool for inclusion, not exclusion. Fine. Okay. Now when we talk about the geospatial technologies, okay, we have basically we have used the geospatial technology in many of our initiatives, in many of our schemes. One example has been given, Swamitwa. Now what is a Swamitwa? Swamitwa stands for Survey of Villages and Mapping with Improvised Technology in Village Areas. What is this Swamitwa scheme? In the Swamitwa scheme, the drones will be used. Now the drones will be used. These drones will be map the lands in the villages, in the panchayats. You know today that there are the land disputes, which are a very big category of the civil disputes that are pending in the cases. Okay, in the courts. Okay, so the land disputes, land disputes are the biggest category of the cases that are lying in the courts, okay. So what is being done? Fine. The drones are being used to map the properties into the village, and this is the first time into the decades that the people will have clear evidence of the ownership, and all these particular disputes will be solved. So when we talk about the Swamitva, what is Swamitva? In this, the geospatial information is being used. So as India is doing that particular kind of a thing, this is something very important. India is now celebrating the 75 years of independence, and this is an example of the innovation. This is an example of scientific innovation that India has achieved. In the government, moreover, has taken one more very important initiative. The data that has been collected over the last 200 years, it has been made open and accessible to all. Is it clear or not? That is something which will give a very important boost to the drone sector, okay, that will give a major boost to the industry. Moreover, we have also liberalized the space sector, okay. 5G technology has been brought, and all these 5G technology, the space sector that has been liberalized, okay, the geospatial technologies will be brought on this particular kind of a landscape. And guys, there is one again very important data that has been given. According to the Union Science Minister, the geospatial economy will be of 63,000 crore rupees by 2025, and geospatial economy will grow at the growth rate of 12.8%. 12.8%. Is it clear or not? So today the geospatial technology has in economic value. Moreover, the geospatial technology has become also the enabler in the socio-economic development. It can enhance the productivity, can ensure the sustainability in infrastructure planning, effective administration, and can aid the farm sector. How it will do that? I will just explain you by the help of some examples. Okay. Fine. Now see this particular thing. Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. So under the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, the crop insurance is done. Now if let's say there is a kind of a natural calamity that came, natural disaster that came, and the crops got destroyed. Now the farmers are to be given the compensation under the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. Now first of all, before giving the compensation, you have to ascertain that what is the loss that happened because of a disaster, because of a storm, or because of untimely rain. Now how that particular thing can be done? That particular survey can be done by using the drones. Now what the drones will do? Drones will survey a location. It will take the geospatial information that this particular land got 80% crops destroyed, this particular land got 60% crops destroyed. So on the basis of the photos, on the basis of the aerial surveys, on the basis of that geospatial information, the information about that place that will be taken, the people can be given the compensation, the farmers can be given the compensation. Is it clear or not? So socio-economic development, it will enhance the productivity. We can survey the land, we can find that which particular kind of a land will support which type of crop, which type of resources are found in which particular kind of a land. Okay, so economic productivity can be there. Infrastructure planning. Now guys, when the highway projects, the roadway projects are to be carried, before that the mapping of that particular place is done, so that we can go for the civil engineering in an effective manner and all such kind of a thing. So there it will happen. Okay. So in this particular manner, the geospatial technology and the geospatial tools will help in multiple fronts, on economic front, on social front, on planning front, all the front it will help. Okay. How 5G technology will help? See, 5G technology, what will happen when you are collecting the information, that particular information is to be relayed. Okay, and in that particular thing, 5G technology will make it possible. Okay. So that is all guys about this particular article. I hope you have understood this particular article. Fine. Now moving to the next article. Judge whose dissent opinions are as powerful as his order. Now this particular article guys, it just contains some of the examples of the dissent, example of some of the references that have been made by Justice Chandrachud in his judgments. Okay, now Justice D.Y. Chandrachud is going to be the next Chief Justice of India, and in the past he had given some of very important judgments. So I have just highlighted those particular points. You can use it in your answers. It can be used in your answers. Okay. Okay, there's one doubt. Sir, I request you to please tell us about every article which should be read or skip for UPSC point of view. Pradeep, please see the video from the start. In the start, every class I take the newspaper overview, and in that overview, I explain every article which is important and which is not important. So please see that video in the start. You will find that. Okay. Now, so some of very good references have been given. Now, guys, understand this particular thing, that when you are writing your answers, okay, always you have to complement your answers with some kind of a references, and there if you give the references from the Supreme Court, they are excellent. Number one, D.Y. Chandrachud, he said that the dissent is the safety valve of democracy. Dissent is a safety valve of democracy. Now, when we talk about the safety valve helps in venting out the pressure. If there is no safety valve, the pressure will build up and then it will destroy the system. So, giving a power of dissent to the people, it is giving them an opportunity to vent out, and it is very important for democracy. This was something that was said by the D.Y. Chandrachud in one of his judgments. So, you please note it down in your notes and use it in your answers. Then the next is, he said that a deprivation of liberty even for a single day is one day too many. What it means? Now, this particular judgment was given into the case of the under trials who were languishing into the jails. Now, under trials are the people on whom the case is going on. Here, their crime has not been proved, but still they are in the jail because they are not given the bail. So, in the matters of the under trial, it was said that deprivation of liberty even for one day. Even for one day you are putting them in that jail. One day is equals to so many of the days. Okay. Then the Justice Chandrachud, he says that the privacy is a fundamental right. He gave the judgment in the matters of the privacy. Now you might be knowing the name, the Puttaswamy judgment, the Puttaswamy case. So the Puttaswamy case, the judgment in that Justice D.Y. Chandrachud played a very important role, and this right to privacy that finally came. On that particular basis, the section 377 of IPC, which criminalized the homosexuality, it got decriminalized. So, in the privacy judgment also, he played a very important role. He said that it is difficult to right a wrong by history, but we can set the course for the future. What this particular quotation means? He said that, okay, what has happened in the history, we cannot correct that particular thing, fine, but we can see that what happens in the future. We can create the correct precedent for the future. So it is difficult to right a wrong by history, but we can set the course for the future. We can make sure that injustice in future doesn't happen. Okay. In the Aadhaar judgment, he said that the Aadhaar scheme reduced a person to a 12-digit number. Okay. Then he said that dissent is a symbol of vibrant democracy. Okay, voices in opposition cannot be muzzled by persecuting who take up the unpopular cases. Okay, they said that just simply a kind of a viewpoint is not popular, you cannot muzzle that thing. Some people take the unpopular cases, some people are putting forward those causes which are not liked by the majority. Okay, you basically you criticize such kind of a people, you condemn such kind of a people, it's not correct. Okay, and he said further, immunizing customs and usages can take away the primacy of the constitution. Sometimes we say that the custom is the most important thing. Now this particular thing was said into the context of the Sabrimala case that came. So in the Sabrimala case, the women were not allowed to enter, and that was justified in the name of tradition. So the Justice Chandrachud said that if you immunize the custom, if you think that the customs are all the important things, then what will happen? The primacy of the constitution will be taken away, which is not correct. Okay, so these are some of the important references that have been made by the Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, and as he is going to be the next Chief Justice of India, okay, these are some of the compilations that had given. Please use them in your answers. So that is all, guys, about it. And now let's take the mains practice question for today. So the mains question for today, it says that the question, it reads, aggravation of depression and other mental health issue is being repeatedly attributed to technology. Fine. While technology is certainly an agent, but it can neither be seen as a root cause nor as a panacea. Analyze this particular statement. So this particular statement or this particular answer question will be important for GS paper number 2. It will be a 15-marker question. So please write it. So that is all, guys, about the newspaper analysis for today. And with this, we come to an end to the today's newspaper analysis. Okay. And again, guys, asking for a social validation. If you have liked the video, please do hit the like button, as well as please do subscribe to the channel. So that is all for today. Now we'll meet tomorrow. Till then, please take care of yourselves. Thank you so much.